Hey listeners, welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into something really quite fascinating, I think. An ancient text that's, well, it's just packed with incredible poetry, prophecy that feels almost theatrical, and some pretty raw human emotion. We are cracking open the book of Nahum. It's this prophetic vision, and honestly, parts of it read like a script. You've got this villainous empire, a truly formidable divine power, and this astonishing, very visceral portrayal of justice. So our mission today, let's try and extract the most striking insights, focusing on its vivid picture of power, justice, and, destruction.
Exactly. And it's a relatively short book, but incredibly impactful. It's primarily an oracle, a prophecy concerning the city of Nineveh, the really formidable capital of ancient Assyria. So we'll explore the character of the divine presented here, the specific reasons given for Nineveh's predicted downfall. There's quite chilling details of its destruction. And then, importantly, there's a contrasting message of hope aimed at another nation.
Okay, let's unpack that first part then. The book opens, boom, right away with this powerful description of the Lord. What kind of divine character are we shown right at the start?
Well, it's complex. The Lord is first depicted as, and I'm quoting here, a jealous and avenging God, filled with wrath, taking vengeance on his foes and maintaining his wrath against his enemies. It's strong stuff, but there's immediately a balance. It also says the Lord is slow to anger and great in power. So there's immense capability, yes, but also restraint. Crucially, though, it adds, he will not leave the guilty unpunished.
Slow to anger, but eventually.
Exactly. And this power isn't abstract. It extends over creation itself. The text says he rebukes the sea and dries it up, makes all the rivers run dry. Even, mountains quake before him and hills melt away. It's cosmic level power being described.
Right. Okay, so that's a pretty dramatic stage. But here's where, for me, it gets really interesting. Amidst all that formidable power and, frankly, wrath, you mentioned a counterpoint. What else does the text tell us about the Lord's nature?
Yeah, this is key. It states very clearly, the Lord is good, a refuge in times of trouble. He cares for those who trust in him. So it's this multifaceted portrayal, you see. On the one hand, yes, a force of immense judgment against wrongdoing. But on the other, a source of safety, of refuge for those aligned with him. It's both justice and mercy held in tension.
So this powerful, just yet patient divine figure. But obviously, patience runs out somewhere. Let's turn to Nineveh. Why is this specific city, this powerful Assyrian capital, the target of such intense divine wrath? What are its characteristics in this oracle?
Nineveh is painted in really stark terms. It's identified as the source from which one has come forth who plots evil against the Lord and counsels wickedness. So it's positioned as fundamentally opposed to the divine order. And then it gets graphic. It's called the city of blood, full of lies, full of plunder, never without victims. It's depicted as a predatory state. And then there's this other powerful metaphor.
The harlot imagery.
Exactly. A harlot alluring the mistress of sorceries who enslaved nations by her prostitution and peoples by her witchcraft. This suggests, not just military oppression, but maybe deceptive alliances, exploitative trade, cultural corruption, a power that seduces and destroys.
That is incredibly strong imagery. City of blood, mistress of sorceries. Okay, so the case against Nineveh is made pretty clear. How was the judgment itself described? What are the specifics of its fall?
Oh, the description of the fall is incredibly vivid, almost cinematic. The oracle foretells an overwhelming flood making an end of Nineveh, maybe literal, maybe metaphorical for invasion. It's debated. Then it says an attacker advances and the scene just explodes into chaos. You get the shields of his soldiers are red, the warriors are clad in scarlet. Yeah, you can picture it. Chariots storming through streets like flaming torches, darting about like lightning. You hear the sounds, the crack of whips, the clatter of wheels. You see the action, charging cavalry, flashing swords and glittering spears, and the result. Utter devastation. Many casualties, piles of dead, bodies without number. It's brutal.
And Nineveh, as you said, capital of Assyria, they were known for their military might. The text even uses that metaphor, right? The lion's den.
Yeah.
How does the prophecy deal with that acknowledged strength?
It addresses it head on. That lion metaphor captures their predatory nature perfectly, but the Lord Almighty declares very directly, I am against you. And the consequences are specific. I will burn up your chariots in smoke, and the sword will devour your young lions. The young lions, likely meaning their soldiers or princes, he declares, I will leave you no prey on the earth. It's not just defeat, it's the end of their entire system of power, their ability to dominate and feed off others, total annihilation of their way of life.
So it's not just military defeat or physical destruction. There seems to be this element of deep, personal, public humiliation for Nineveh, It's quite striking. What does the text say about that aspect, the shame?
That's a really important observation. The judgment isn't just destruction, it's degradation. The prophecy states, I will lift your skirts over your face. I will show the nations your nakedness and the kingdoms your shame. In that ancient context, emphasizing honor and shame, this is about total public disgrace, exposure. It says Nineveh will be pelted with filth, treated with contempt, and made a spectacle, just utterly debased.
And the reaction from others.
Stark. All who see you will flee from you and say, Nineveh is in ruins, who will mourn for her. It implies their cruelty was so widespread that no one would mourn them. Their fall would be met with relief, not sorrow.
Wow. And the oracle even uses a historical comparison, doesn't it?
Yeah.
To really hammer home the point about Nineveh's fate being unavoidable, it brings up Thebes.
Yes, exactly. It asks rhetorically, are you better than Thebes? Now, Thebes, ancient Egyptian capital, powerful, famously sacked earlier, mentioning it was like saying, look, even the greatest fall. It reminds the audience that Thebes, situated on the Nile with formidable allies like Cush and Egypt, possessing seemingly boundless strength, even she was taken captive and went into exile. Her fate was horrific. Her infants were dashed to pieces, and all her great men were put in chains. The message is crystal clear. If it happened to Thebes, it can and will happen to you, Nineveh. No city is invincible.
So no escape. What are the final images used? You mentioned the destruction is total, but are there descriptions that emphasize its sort of pathetic end?
Yeah, the ending descriptions really emphasize weakness and collapse. The fortifications, once perhaps imposing, are now like fig trees with their first ripe fruit. When they're shaken, the figs fall into the mouth of the eater, just easily overcome. And its troops, the source of its might. Look at your troops, they're all women. Now, that's not literal, obviously, but a profound ancient insult implying complete lack of courage, impotence.
A complete reversal of the lion image.
Precisely. And the leadership. Totally failed. The king's shepherds slumber, your nobles lie down to rest. No guidance, no protection. Your people are scattered on the mountains with no one to gather them. Utter disintegration. The final verdict is absolute. Nothing can heal your wound. Your injury is fatal. And then that final chilling image of global reaction. Everyone who hears the news about you claps his hands at your fall, for who has not felt your endless cruelty? It's a picture of universal relief at the end of tyranny.
Okay, so that's Nineveh's fate.
Hmm?
Utter destruction, humiliation, and unmourned end. But you mentioned earlier there was a contrasting message for another nation.
Yeah.
For Judah, the likely original audience.
Yes, and this is crucial for understanding the whole oracle. While Nineveh faces doom, for Judah, who had suffered under Assyrian oppression, the message is one of profound relief and restoration. It's the other side of the coin. The Lord declares, although I have afflicted you, O Judah, I will afflict you no more. That's a huge promise. Now I will break their Assyria's yoke from your neck and tear your shackles away. Liberation.
So the fall of the oppressor means freedom for the oppressed.
Exactly. There's the promise of one who brings good news, who proclaims peace, an end to the terror, and the assurance, no more will the wicked, meaning Assyria, invade you. They will be completely destroyed. It even talks about restoration of dignity. The Lord will restore the splendor of Jacob like the splendor of Israel. It's about regaining what was lost under oppression.
So it's a message of hope directly linked to the judgment on Nineveh.
Absolutely. The judgment on the oppressor is the salvation for the oppressed in this context. So yeah, this deep dive into Nahum, it really opens up this ancient world grappling with these huge themes. Incredible cruelty, divine justice, the dramatic rise and fall of empires. The text, with its incredibly vivid, almost visceral imagery, it paints this complete picture. You see a powerful city facing the consequences of its systemic cruelty, but alongside that, there's this profound message of hope and deliverance for those who suffered under it.
Yeah, it's striking. Sure, detail in describing Nineveh's downfall, the moral failings, the chaotic battle, the public humiliation. It's quite something. It's a powerful reminder of how these ancient texts captured the full spectrum of human experience and interactions with the divine. Accountability, liberation, it's all there. So as we wrap up, reflecting on Nahum's intense focus on Nineveh, what does this ancient oracle's connection between sort of unchecked power and ultimate brutal accountability make you think about regarding the nature of empires and justice, maybe even today?
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep getting well informed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.